This is a online demo of LifeCycle Tools, a program made by Tools. For more information, you can check us out on the web at www.shultools.com, shultools.com. LifeCycle Tools is an Outlook-based program running in your familiar Microsoft Outlook interface, and it's designed to keep track of lifecycle events and to notify your membership and your lay leadership as well as your professional staff when a lifecycle incident does occur, and then to keep ongoing records on that incident and that individual. We begin when a phone call comes in. The person who takes the phone call simply clicks on the New button. They go to the Lifecycle system in their Outlook folder list or in the public folder. They click on the New button, and this custom form opens up. The custom form here, we specify what type of incident it is. Some categories are provided, so we'll call this an illness. And then we notice that the date of the incident is automatically entered in, and who took the incident is also automatically entered in by the program. Informed by is the person that called, of course, and their phone number. You can assign at this point a lead clergy person. This list is, of course, customizable. You can also leave it blank right now and assign that later. And the status is given, active being an active incident, inactive, of course, being inactive, and ongoing being something that you want to keep track of but is not at the top of the list. The rest of the fields are fairly self-explanatory. We type in who it was, their relationship to the temple, their gender, whether or not they're a member of the synagogue, the person that we contact, phone numbers, addresses, and then the description of what happened during the incident. And there's a large text box here to be as detailed as possible. Depending on the incident, there may be additional details, such as an illness. We might have a hospital room number and hospital information and phone number, and might even have the date that they were admitted. Again, for other types of illnesses, such as a death or a mazel tov, we could have details about the funeral or about the birth or the moil or whatever it is. When all of that is done, the user simply clicks Save and Close, and we'll show you what happens here. We won't do this one, but we'll open up a form that already existed. Here was a death notice. The user simply clicks Save and Close, and an email is sent out to a distribution list notifying you of that event. So this was for Betty Goldberg. If I go into my mail folder here, I can see that I have the notice about Betty Goldberg right here in my email. And this was a text email that came out to me with the subject of a LCM, a life cycle message, Betty Goldberg and a death, and then we have all the information that we just typed into that form, including the description of the incident and the information about where the funeral is and when it's located and who's officiating at it. If we go back to our LifeCycle system and we go back to Betty Goldberg's form for a moment, we also have the ability to keep password-protected notes on any individual in the LifeCycle system. These are extremely handy for clergy who want to track contact with that individual, whether it was visiting them in the hospital or information that was gleaned during a funeral intake, just so there's a record, but a safe and secure record for that information. We access that through a secret area, enter in a password that you define, and then in a notes area we can put in our clergy contact information. Obviously you would type whatever it is that you wanted. And then we'll notice that on that form we now have this little icon that shows us that a note has been attached. Again, we can save close, and that note is there. The next time we go into Betty's file, we know there's a note there. We can again access it and add again another note if we wanted to. To return to a moment to those emails that are sent out by the system, this is a very powerful feature of LifeCycle Tools. It sends out this text email with all of that information, not the password-protected note, but the information that was in the incident description. And if we were to update a particular record, let's say we had more information on Betty Goldberg in the Shiva, we can add a note to this incident report. The Shiva will be at 6 p.m. starting Sunday evening. I'm not the greatest typist when I talk, and ending on Thursday. And then we can simply click on the resend notification email, and it will send out a new notification email, which we'll see in just a moment. Will pop up on our screen with a modified notification telling us what happened. If we look then at our mailbox, we'll see that a new message has actually arrived, and it says here in that new message that it's a modified LifeCycle incident report, and we can see that updated information that is listed here at the bottom of the description. All this is controlled in a very simple to use utilities area, where if we double click here, we can see that this list manager allows us to specify which email addresses receive which types of notices, and of course you can specify an email address or a distribution list to receive all notices. It's also here that you can set your clergy list and your password. If we go back to the LifeCycle system for a moment now in the table view, you can see that we have a tremendous amount of functionality with the LifeCycle system. We can sort this list, we can print this list, we can even take a record, and once it's open we can perform a number of actions with it. We could write a letter to this individual just right here in Microsoft Word, and there it's going to address that letter. We can, including with those actions, we could do an email to this person if their email address was here. We could make a new appointment with this person, and here that contact information would be scheduled. So let's say we wanted to do a follow-up 30 days later to follow up the Shiva. And so we could just do Shiva follow up for Betty Goldberg, putting this on 5/29/2007. We click Save and Close. And then if we go into our calendar, and this is my calendar, and if I go to 5/29/2007, here's my Shiva follow-up for Betty Goldberg, and right down here I can bring up that form. It's really a tremendously powerful tool, allowing us a great deal of functionality, really leveraging the power of Microsoft Outlook. In addition to that, I can set a reminder on this if I want it to pop up an hour beforehand on that day. I can certainly put a note, don't forget to call, or whatever it is that we want to say for ourselves. If we go back to the LifeCycle system, still working with the Betty Goldberg record, we can even get driving directions to her home. This is, of course, very helpful if we're going to visit somebody, or the Shiva Minion takes you right on the internet by clicking a button. And, of course, to get directions, we would just click the directions button. Excuse me, I clicked the wrong button. To that address, it's going to save that address. Here's the end address. We can put in our own address and get directions. This happens to be basically around the corner, but it's going to go online and bring that up for us. And here are those driving directions. And here we can see that the directions show up right on the internet. Going back now and finishing up with our LifeCycle tools and the things that we can do with this program. It's an extremely powerful program. Again, if we go to our message, if our Microsoft Outlook is hooked up to our Going back now to this LifeCycle form, there are still a number of other things that we can do to it. We got driving directions to the home. We talked about sending a message to the contact. We could even dial our phone if Outlook is hooked up to your phone system. You can do a follow-up flag. This is just a typical Outlook follow-up flag, providing a due date, flag to follow up or to call to arrange a meeting, whatever it is, and click that and save. And then now we see that this has a little red flag. And if we double click on it, we can find out what that flag has to say. And we can flag that as completed. So again, many powerful features within LifeCycle Tools, and we are happy to show you how to use it in your congregation.